Or are you trying to build business or?
Trying to build business.
Okay.
Speak to managers between the age of 19 to 32 years old. Think of people like Best Buy. Think of young managers from Best Buy, Office Depot, office manager, sales manager. Somebody just got in management and they don't know what they're doing yet. Because they were really good at something, so they got promoted to be the manager and they don't have any of the skills. So one of the things that I really want to work on is making my speech sound conversational. We talked about that last time, with the pauses, that type of thing. Did I pause enough? Did you get what my message was? At the end of the speech, you understand what my message is. And really, did the stories that I tell relate to, I don't care about me, do they relate to you? Are you thinking of your stories as I'm telling them? If that makes any sense. Now we've got a little bit of a challenge because I'm not sure why this is not coming on. Maybe it's my computer. No.
Maybe it says it has no signal. Do you have to hit a button on your computer?
It should be. It just popped up last time. Yeah, it's not all.
Mike, try going out of your,
Computer?
or just going out of the presentation and then going back in.
Okay.
That's what I've had to do over the last 3 days.
Oh,
I think
really?
it's not getting the computer signal from this
Yeah,
computer
it
though.
says no
Oh,
signal.
okay.
I mean, it literally just worked.
Best challenges of being a speaker, right?
Yep. Can you do the dance? Oh, something's happening.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. The Tommy Show. Just came in.
Important stuff.
Yeah. Sandy, would you want to read this?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Please join me in welcoming Mike Burke. Mike is the founder of Leadership in the Real World. He spends his days helping frontline managers figure out what to do when they don't know what to do. Mike draws on his 27 years experience as a frontline leader to help his students achieve their career, personal, and financial goals. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Burke.
Thank you. So let me ask you a question. What's important to you right now as it pertains to your career? For instance, is earning more responsibility important? How about being seen as the go-to person, the one that everybody looks to when there's a challenge or there's a problem, because they know you can solve it? How about having more time for your personal ambitions? I mean, you're not on this earth to work 24/7. You deserve a fulfilling personal life. Now, along those lines, do you want to have the skills so you can actually go on vacation or go to a meeting off-site for that matter and not be thinking, oh man, it's going to be a disaster when I get back. I mean, who needs that? How about making somebody proud of you? For me, it was always about my mom. I used to love saying, Mom, I just got promoted, I'm customer service manager. Mom, I just got promoted, I'm sales manager now. I'd see her smile, and honestly, it made me feel great. How about you? Is there somebody you want to be proud of you? Now, finally, how about the financial benefits of becoming a world-class leader? The raises, the bonuses, or whatever else is out there for you. Is that important? No. That's all the great stuff, right? That's all the stuff that comes from being a frontline leader. But how do you do it? I mean, it doesn't just happen. So, what are the challenges? Well, the challenges, in my opinion, are they don't teach you how to be a manager in your company's orientation, do they? What do you do when, for instance, you walk up to one of your employees and say, hey, I need help with something, and they give you a sarcastic answer. Or they turn their back on you. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience or anything. I doubt if anybody taught you what to do. Now, how about walking out in the office and your area of responsibility and seeing one of your employees totally losing it. Not that that's ever happened to me. But those are the real world situations that you face as leaders and managers. So today we're going to be talking about 3 what I call career killers that managers and supervisors face. And we're going to go through each of them, and then we're going to go over some strategies to overcome them. And the first one we're going to go over is keeping your composure under extreme pressure. So let's get started. Little personal story, when I started my career, I was just promoted to management I was a customer service person. I guess I did a good job. They made me customer service manager. And I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out why everybody went from liking me to hating me the next day. It was amazing. It seemed like everything I said made somebody angry with me. You ever feel that way? Well, my boss saw that, and to his credit, he sent me to training, what was called soft skills training back then. Stuff like problem solving, dealing with emotional behavior, managing change, and all that type of thing. And I took it really, really seriously. I would go to class, and I'd come back to work, and I'd have my binders out, and I'd be like, all right, so I'm going to do a problem solving meeting. What's the strategy that I would do it? And everybody made fun of me for doing that, but I can tell you it worked. And it worked so well that I finally got a promotion, and I was put in charge of this large facility. Almost 100,000 square feet, and I'm in charge of the warehouse people and the drivers. And I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get to know everybody. There was 5 times as many people that I was managing, and people were actually listening to me and taking my advice, and it was amazing. And then at the end of my 3rd week, my life changed forever. I discovered that there was a multi-million-dollar theft ring going on, and it involved my managers, my supervisors, and virtually all my warehouse employees. Now, first, corporate was really, really excited. They were like, this kid in 3 weeks figured out what was going on for decades, and we're going to be saving him millions of dollars. But the people that I was working with, my peers, my counterparts, weren't so happy because they were there for years, and this was all going on under their nose. Now, I'm not saying they were part of it, because they weren't, but it was all happening, and it didn't make them look really good. So that wasn't so good. And then, throw on top of that, the people that I either terminated, suspended, or gave other discipline to, they were downright vicious. And they saw me as the reason why all this happened, how their lives changed. And it didn't take long for the verbal threats, the verbal innuendos to happen, the physical threats to happen. And I can tell you I didn't handle it well. All that training I did went right out the window. Let me give you a quick example. One night I'm working the night shift because I fired the night shift manager for stealing. And I look over, this guy clocks in, and he makes a beeline to me and fast walks right into my face. And he says, "You're a rat." I said, "No, man." Now, at this point, I was tired, I was angry, and I had had enough. I said, "No, man, don't think of me as a rat. Think of me as a cop who caught a crook. When I go home, I can tell my wife and kids I caught a crook. When you go home, you can tell your wife and kids you were a crook." It felt great. Everybody went back to work. If it got quiet, everybody went back to work. Until the next day when I was in my boss's office, and he had the complaint written out, and it had it verbatim, exactly what I said, and I didn't deny a word. And as my boss was telling me that I need to be more empathetic towards these guys for what they've been through, I'm thinking in my mind, wait a minute, what have they been through? They were just stealing. And the more and more he said that, the more and more I got angry, and the more and more I started proving his point that I was out of control, and I wasn't handling the situation well. And at the end of a few months, I learned a really valuable lesson, a life lesson that I'll never forget. They don't fire the players, they fire the manager. And in the end, I was asked to take a lateral position within the company, and it hurt. It hurt me, it hurt my family, it hurt my ego, and it set my career back for years. So I got my new job, and my head was still not in the game. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but my head wasn't in the game. I was still angry and bitter about what happened to me, blaming everybody, and I knew something had to change, and it had to be me changing, because if I didn't change, I was going to be out of there. They're not going to keep putting up with this. So I pulled out my old binders, and I reacquainted myself with them, and And it actually worked. It took time, but I actually built my career back up. Now, fast forward 20 years, I'm working for the same company, and I'm in charge of the Boston facility, the largest facility in the country, unionized. And I'm in charge of everything: sales, customer service, the facility, $120 million in revenue. And at the end of my 3rd month, this happened. Oops. Of course it didn't work. Let's see if I can just get it to go. Wait a minute. The volume's not working because of that. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to unplug it. And we're going to just look at it from my screen. So here is my screen. Hopefully you can see that. By the way, my name's Mike Burke. And that went on for 40 days and 40 nights, kind of biblical. That my employees and myself had to go, just to earn a paycheck, had to drive through that picket line every day, drive out to go home. And it was unbelievable the amount of verbal threats, assaults that happened to our employees, to my employees and me. And they did everything they could. They did everything they possibly could to get me going, to get me to say something so they could say, see, it's not us, it's him. And it wasn't easy. It was hard because I was pissed. But all I remembered was what happened to me in Philadelphia all those years ago, 20 years ago. And I refused to give them that. So at the end of the 6 weeks, I made sure I was the first one to welcome each of them back into the building. Now, I was angry, I was bitter, I was scared, but I welcomed them back. And over time, we got the place running again and got it productive. Now, what happened next? Well, about a year later, my wife and I were in Salem, Massachusetts. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but Salem, Massachusetts is where they had the Salem witch trials in the 1690s. It is, if you're into Halloween, it's a freak show. It's unbelievable. It's where you want to be. My wife and I are walking down the street, and this guy called my name. And I look over, and I see him. I kind of laugh. I walk over to him, and he's dressed in this caveman outfit. And we start talking. I introduced my wife to him. My wife asked if she could take a picture with us. And as we were walking away, she said, "Who was that guy?" I said, "You know him." She said, "I don't know him. How would I know him?" I said, "Sure you do. He's the guy who said this."
And Mike, just so you know, you're at like 12 minutes.
I know.
You did this! You right! You're fucking fault!
So, the end. Okay.
So when you do this, is this the opening and then you go into your things you're gonna teach them?
Yes.
Or?
This is for an e-learning course, actually. So this is the first, I knew it was going to be 12 minutes.
Okay.
The first 12 minutes, and then I go into the strategy.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah. And then how long is the whole thing?
This is 22 minutes.
So you go through all those strategies in the next 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you
For
see-
an
do you see-
e-learning, it's an e-learning course.
Right, but do you see, okay, so here's the thing, this is something I see in networking a lot, and this is, again, this is just my opinion, and it used to be taught, and this is one of the things I do differently, is you, the stories were great. They were all about you. So for 12 minutes, you talked about yourself, now you're gonna cram a bunch of content in 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Tweak your opening. If it's longer, you're okay. Still pull us into your story, that you've gotta make it about us.
Mhm.
But when it's shorter, it's really hard to cram content. And you said you're gonna, there are 3 things, and then there were 3, there were things after that. Okay, that's a lot of content in 10 minutes.
Mhm.
right? So just try to use.
I apologize.
Okay.
This is for the first, there's gonna be 3 videos.
Okay. better.
Okay, so the first one is about composure,
Okay,
and that's the
one of
whole.
C's, just one.
The second one is about problem solving, the third one is about something else, and I'm not thinking of right now.
Okay, that makes much more sense. I was like, wow, 22 minutes, that's a lot. So I don't know what your, you said your goal was to be more conversational. So first of all, things I noticed is, aside from myself and Christy, you were the first one here. So that's awesome. I was actually the first one here. So I didn't even know the doors didn't open until 11. I never arrived. I'm usually an hour early any place I'm gonna be. And that's just huge, y'all, in case any, I mean, I'm on 285 and I get car crash reported ahead. And I'm like, great, I'm gonna have to call Christy and everything. But I allowed enough time, so kudos to you for that. I mean, again, I don't know y'all's structure, so it's just something I notice. I notice it every time I'm at a networking event and the speaker's there. I notice and most people do. When they come in to an event, if you're at like kind of a business lunch or something, the first person they wanna look for is who's the speaker, right? So I would love for you to have a more powerful opening.
Okay.
So instead of so let me is saying I'm asking you permission to. Don't ask permission, man. Take the stage and own it. Claim it. So just start with your questions, right?
I
Be
agree.
mindful for everybody of asking the audience permission, because you're actually, what if they decide no? And I know that's funny, but in their head, and especially the group I wrote down millennials, and I wrote down, what's the group after millennials even called? I'm not clear anymore on what letter or what thing they are, but the first thing they're going to is their phone, right? And I know, I don't remember if Dan said this, but it's everywhere. Your biggest competition is electronics and media. It's so, that's what, so yeah, so really, so just take away the so let me, and start really strong with your question, right? I love that when you got to the part about your mom. And your word is ma. Man, play with that. Emote that. Put more into it. I wanted to hear, I'm like, nobody in the South really that I hear says ma. To me, and I don't know, because I didn't grow up in Atlanta, but I'm thinking Northeast. Play it up, man. Be that person. Be that age. Mom, look, that pulls us in, right? That pulls us in. Remember, we have to be part of your story.
Yeah.
We have to be part of it. One of the things I was taught, and again, this is, and I see some people do it and it works okay, is be mindful of asking a yes/no question unless you want no for an answer. Because the minute you say, is this important to you or is this, and I say no, I'm out.
Okay.
You've lost me as an audience member. It means you're not speaking to me, you're speaking to the other people.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great point.
And then you said something about, in my opinion, they don't teach you. I would love it to be in my experience,
Okay.
and then I want a story about that. I don't want you to tell me the things, I want you to give me a story that shows them. It's like I walked into work one day, and those people that loved me, all of a sudden wouldn't talk to me. It's like I showered, it's like, play it up.
Okay.
Pull those people in. Remember? Show that, not just with your words, but paint the picture so that they can totally relate to where you are.
I like that, yeah.
And I'll tell you, I work with a lot of people that were great at sales and got pulled into management and they're lousy managers. They're still brilliant at sales. And then the people above like, well, why aren't you? It's like, we didn't teach them skills. So they can all relate to that. So just play up the stories. And then you mentioned a couple times, not that that's ever happened to me. Again, that's kind of your hit line. Play it up.
Okay.
Not that that's ever happened to me either.
But it was, because I was worried about saying it twice, because I know it loses resonance.
Right, but if you say it twice flat, it's flat.
Okay.
You might adjust it not that I really know what I'm talking about, but, just play it out. You've got to, because again, that whole intro is your story. And if we can't get pulled into your story, we're out.
Got
Okay.
it.
So yeah, I had a question about, you said we're going to talk about. Today we're going to talk about,
Yeah, I should have said you're going to discover.
no,
No?
claim your experience. There are 3 things that I've learned that I know work in this. Claim it, own it, be the expert,
Okay.
right? It's just go out, when you, and think about this when you watch speakers. Now granted, it doesn't mean you're not, people say to me, oh, I'm a content speaker. I'm like, you're both. or you wouldn't still be there. Because any content we're teaching can be found on the internet, right?
Yeah.
What they're wanting is the delivery. So you can still teach hard content, intellectual content, all that. But yeah, so you don't need to tell them, say, I'm gonna do this. It's a little different than a classroom. No, you are on a video, so that might, and that's why I was kind of trying to clarify that. But if you're up in front of an audience, yeah, just, there are 3 things I've learned, or that I see
Okay.
continually.
Yeah, and in the training courses I've taken for training, it's always, today you're gonna
Right,
just
that's the
about.
whole teacher model, and
Yeah.
that's where you have to marry that in with the speaker model,
Yeah,
right? Because you want them to look at you as more like, there's the trainer, the teacher, and then people see a keynote speaker, and you want to be like, right? You still want to be the trainer, and I do a lot of corporate training, and I take what I think are the most boring PowerPoints in the world, and I add my stories to them. I give my examples and experiences, and right? So you can still add that element, but just make people want to know, oh wait, there's 3 things, I want to know what they are. Like, be compelling enough
Got
that
it.
they want to know what they are,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
right? So they're not gonna hear, watching a course, hear a Facebook message or an email come in and click off and go get it. They're like, wait, I want to hear this. Or that they're gonna be like, wait, what did he say? Back it up, write it down again, or something like
I
that,
like that, yeah.
right? And then, I don't remember what you're saying, you said something about when people were saying they hated you and whatever, I said a quick story or an example. Again, pull us in, make us a part of what's happening to you. You mentioned, and I had charts and strategy and graphs. That to me would have been a funny picture.
Oh, really?
That would have been like the sticky notes all over the
Yeah.
wall, and the pins, or the string going here, kind of that nerd alert thing, and letting people be humor.
I like that, yeah.
More humor, add humor with you. I just thought that was, and then I wrote a couple of, pull us into the story, make it about us.
Yeah.
You've all been there, right? Even if it was in girls in high school, right? You've been there. You know what it's like when one minute you walk in and you're the king, and the next minute you walk in and you're the court jester and you don't know what happened. Like pull us in so that we can create that story in our head, right?
Mhm.
So that we can, and you would relate that to that age group, and one tweet goes out and all of a sudden everything's changed, right? How much your world can turn with one change.
That's a great way to keep it relevant too. to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Current,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you said something about it's not the players who get fired. Who's it?
the
Everybody,
manager.
where'd your head go? It's not the players, it's the
Coach.
coach. That's our brain is gonna fill that in, and you said a different word, and I went, oh, I would have said coach, right? So just think of what's the natural link.
Okay.
It makes your point well enough. You don't have to be so specific that it's the manager or whatever, but it's when you say it's not the players that get fired, I think almost everyone would go it's the coach.
Okay.
And then you said something about, you got fired, it was a career setback, and then you jumped to, so I got my new job, and I was like, well, what happened? Wait. So I know you only have a short amount of time, but that's why stories have to be really concise, and they have to be incredibly essential to what comes next. Because I want to know how we went from the career setback to your new job, and what was the new job, and like there was a gap in there that I wanted to fill in.
Okay.
Okay.
'Cause I did a little bit with, I pulled the binders out, the training binders, and I got back into it and that, and over time I got my career back.
Yeah, it just
Needs
for
more.
me, there was a gap there.
Okay.
There needs to be a transition statement in the middle. So maybe instead of career setback, if I got my new job in this, it's career setback, this is what I did and I got my new job. Just a cleaner transition.
Gotcha.
I wrote down FF 20 years. I don't remember if you said.
Fast forward.
Fast forward 20 years. Yeah, and again, I was like, we jumped.
Mhm.
So just if you're gonna do 12 minutes, it's almost like take your red pen and edit out anything that's not crucial so that the 12 minutes you're saying is incredibly impactful,
Gotcha.
okay? I have been where you were when your PowerPoint didn't work, and I've also seen a Toastmasters person doing their little level on video, and their video didn't work. It was on the importance of video. And their solution was to open the thing and show this. My solution would have been, well, what do you do when video doesn't work? So that was Toastmasters. But for you, play with it, make fun of it. Another managerial thing, right? You're given a training, you don't know a thing about technology, and this happens. Use it. Add some humor, acknowledge what's going on in the room.
Yeah.
Don't act like, oh, I feel bad, or I'm sorry, never apologize. Just acknowledge it and move on. Make light of it, make a joke. One thing to know your audience. So I would have preferred for me that you paint a picture of what happened and your feelings, because your feelings are going to be impulsive, versus hearing the F word in the video constantly. Now, I'm a different age group, and I get that. But I think if you just said, every day I had to go through this in my family, and whether you had kids or not, I don't know, and my kids were hearing this stuff, and it was all, you know, like really, like, oh my God, we're sitting there with you. So I think that can be a really powerful story
Sure.
versus a video. And then I loved when you said I was still angry, I was still bitter, and I was scared, and you said I welcomed them back I welcomed them back anyway. Or I did what I had to do as a manager, and I stepped up, and I was like, give yourself kudos for that. It was like the hero, right? I stepped up and I welcomed them back anyway, or I did what I had to do. And you know, it was hard, and I love the angry, bitter, scared. Like, I wasn't over this, but I did it anyway. I thought that was really powerful. And just to track, you got a lot of humor with the Halloween freak show comment. So again, as you're doing this and you have more time online, I would elaborate that a little bit too. You know what it's like, that people walk around looking like this, or, you know, if you were in Atlanta, you'd say sometimes, you know, well, I would say in the 80s, it used to be like Lennox Mall on the weekends or something, like you would just find something to, again, paint
Yeah, I
that
got
picture
you.
for us.
Yeah,
Kinda
yeah.
like a
Because
dragon
you
con
got a
parade,
lot- You
yeah.
got a big response on that, is why I say that.
Yeah.
So give people time to laugh, and then say, you know, like really give them like the little second line. And that, to me, was the biggest humor point. So I would still say, tighten the stories, pull us in, and add a little play up the humor piece. And
Okay.
then, so it's kind of like a sarcastic humor, and you have to be real careful with sarcasm. But it's like, you know, great, I'm walking through, I saw a pig on one of your streams, I'm walking through, and this is what I'm faced with every day, and I'm thinking this or lunch, or, you know, like play up with it, find something that's just kind of witty and in the moment. And that again pulls us into your story, because we're laughing at that point with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
Wonderful.
thank you.
That's
A lot of
great.
feedback. We got that on video, right?
Oh, yeah.
We do,
And I've got it
yeah.
here.
Okay, great.
You can't always read my writing, but I didn't go by y'all's little things.
We
but,
can do 1 minute, so we give one person who
Sorry.
feels really strong. No, I
I'm
didn't want to
detailed.
interrupt any
I'm
of that. That was
detailed, sorry.
phenomenal. Is there anyone who feels really strongly about feedback for Mike right now that Cricket didn't bring up?
I haven't seen Mike in a really long
Yeah.
time, and it is exponentially more relaxed, more
Yes.
personal,
Good.
more Mike coming through. And
Mhm.
the other thing is just simply because my training's all in theater, you have to look at people's eye lines. So even in a room like this walking this far was too far because all of our heads are going to
Oh.
be. So set up your parameter before you start. And the last thing is movement can be motivated. Moving for emphasis, not moving unless there is a reason, and this comes from my acting background, but we don't just cross the stage because we need to move. There has to be a reason we are moving. And there's plenty of places in your presentation
Yeah.
where movement would emphasize your
reason.
point,
Yeah.
but otherwise it's wandering and it's distracting. So I know you'll be able to
That's
do
good
that,
feedback.
but you've been, I'm just like, wow!
Yeah.
So I'm
Very
super
conversational.
encouraged,
Yeah.
I'm inspired,
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent. Thank you, guys. Mike,
Thank
that's
you.
phenomenal.